The rain fell hard that evening, thick, cold, and relentless. Streetlights flickered over an almost empty parking lot outside a rundown grocery store. Water pooled near the sidewalk, reflecting the dull yellow glow from the lamps above. A young woman stood there, soaked to the bone, clutching her belly with both trembling hands. Her name was Maya. Her clothes were torn at the sleeve, her hair wet and tangled, her lips slightly bleeding. She flinched at every sound, every car door, every passing shadow. A man's voice echoed in her head, the one she had escaped hours ago. "If you walk out that door, don't ever come back." Her breath quickened. She looked around desperately for a place to hide, but the night felt endless. Then, a shadow moved behind her. She froze. Heart pounding, she whispered, "Please, please don't hit me." Her voice was barely audible over the rain. The figure stopped, and then a gentle voice answered, Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." Maya slowly turned around. Standing there was a man in a faded jacket, holding a grocery bag that dripped from the rain. His eyes were calm, but filled with concern. He was Ethan, a humble single dad in his 30s, tired from a double shift at the mechanic shop, but kind even in exhaustion. His boots were muddy, his shirt damp, but his heart was steady. He lowered his bag and took a cautious step closer. "You're freezing. Are you all right?" Maya's eyes darted away. I just need to go. Please don't call anyone." Ethan shook his head softly. "I'm not calling anyone. I just don't want you standing in the rain like this." Maya hugged her belly tighter. "I don't have anywhere else to go." The words broke something inside him. He noticed her swollen belly. She was clearly 7, maybe 8 months pregnant. And she was standing there with nothing but a small purse and sandals. Ethan hesitated for a second, then took off his jacket and held it out. "Here. Please. You'll catch a cold." Maya stared at the jacket, then at his face, unsure whether to trust him. Everyone she had trusted had hurt her. But something about this man's eyes, they weren't pitying or judging. Just kind. Finally, she reached out and took it. The jacket swallowed her small frame. "Thank you," she whispered, tears mixing with rain. Ethan nodded. "It's okay. I've got a daughter your age. Well, not really. She's 6. I just can't walk away when someone looks scared like that." Maya's lips trembled. "I used to think people cared. Until..." She stopped herself, shaking her head. He didn't press. Instead, he reached into his grocery bag and pulled out a sandwich. "You should eat. Looks like you haven't had a meal in a while." Her eyes softened. No one had offered her food in days. She took it hesitantly, biting into it as tears rolled down her cheeks. Ethan stood beside her in silence, letting her eat. The sound of rain filled the air, the kind of silence that didn't need words. After a few minutes, he spoke again. "There's a diner just down the street. It's warm inside. You can rest there for a bit, my treat." She hesitated. "Why are you helping me?" He smiled faintly. "Because once, someone helped me when I was at my lowest. I guess I'm just returning the favor." That was the first time Maya truly looked at him, really looked. A tired man with kind eyes, carrying groceries for a daughter waiting at home. And yet, here he was, helping a stranger in the rain. For the first time in months, she didn't feel completely invisible. As they walked toward the diner under his umbrella, Maya whispered quietly to herself, words he almost didn't hear. "Maybe not everyone wants to hurt me." The diner was small, old, and half empty, the kind of place that smelled of coffee, pancakes, and late-night stories. Neon lights flickered through the rain-streaked windows as Ethan pushed the glass door open and held it for Maya. She hesitated at the entrance, dripping water onto the floor. Her clothes clung to her, her hair plastered to her cheeks. "It's okay," Ethan said softly. "Come on in. Nobody here's gonna hurt you." The warmth inside felt almost unreal. The waitress, a kind older woman named Judy, gave a curious look as the two entered. Ethan nodded politely. "Table by the corner, please." They sat down near the window. Maya stared at the napkin dispenser, avoiding eye contact. Her hands were shaking slightly, from cold or fear. Ethan couldn't tell. Judy poured them coffee. Ethan ordered soup and a sandwich for Maya, and just coffee for himself. You don't have to pay for me, Maya said quickly. It's all right, he replied with a gentle smile. You need this more than I do. For a few long moments, silence hung between them. The sound of rain outside, the hum of the old jukebox, the smell of soup, everything felt strangely calm. Finally, Ethan spoke, his voice low and careful. You said you don't have anywhere to go. Do you have family? Friends? She looked up for the first time, her eyes glassy. No one. My parents disowned me when they found out I was pregnant. And the baby's father. She stopped. Her breath hitched. He told me I ruined his life. He hit me and said I'd be nothing without him. Ethan's jaw tightened, his eyes darkened. He clenched his coffee cup to keep his temper in check. You didn't ruin anything, he said firmly. You're bringing a life into this world. That's something strong people do. Maya blinked, confused by the kindness. You don't even know me. I don't have to, he said. You look like someone who's been hurt enough. Nobody deserves that. Judy arrived with the food, a steaming bowl of chicken soup and a grilled sandwich. Maya hesitated before eating, then took a small sip of the broth. The warmth spread through her chest, and for a moment, she closed her eyes. Ethan watched quietly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. It reminded him of his daughter, Lily, when she had her first warm meal after his wife passed away. After a while, Maya whispered, You said you have a daughter? Yeah, Ethan said softly. She's 6, smart, loud, and thinks she runs the world. A small smile appeared on Maya's face, the first real one of the night. She's lucky to have you. No, Ethan said, glancing down. I'm lucky to have her. She's the reason I learned what patience and love really mean. Maya stared at him quietly. He wasn't wealthy, his hands were rough from work, but there was a peace about him. The kind of peace she'd never known. After dinner, Ethan paid the bill, and they stepped back outside. The rain had slowed to a drizzle. Maya turned to him. Thank you for the food, the jacket, everything. I'll sleep behind the bus stop tonight. I'll be okay. Ethan frowned. No, you won't. I can't go to a shelter, she said quickly. They'll ask questions. And I don't want them to take my baby. He thought for a moment, then sighed deeply. Listen, I've got a small house, nothing fancy. 1 extra room. My daughter's with my sister tonight. You can stay just for the night, until we figure something out. Maya stepped back, shaking her head. No, I can't. People will talk. Let them talk, Ethan said calmly. You and your baby need warmth, not judgment. The sincerity in his tone broke through her fear. For the first time in months, she felt she could trust someone. She nodded slowly. Just for 1 night, she whispered. He smiled faintly. Just 1 night. As they drove through the quiet streets, Maya stared out the window. Streetlights passed in a blur. Her hands rested on her belly. For the first time since she'd run away, she whispered to her unborn child, Maybe we'll be okay. Ethan heard her in the silence, and though he said nothing, he smiled to himself. When they reached his small, cozy home, he helped her inside, handed her a towel, and showed her the spare room. Simple but clean. You can rest here. The door locks from the inside. You're safe, Maya. She sat on the bed, tears quietly falling. Safe, she repeated, as if testing the word for the first time in her life. Outside, the rain finally stopped. And for Maya, so did the running. The first rays of morning sunlight crept through the small window of Ethan's modest house. The sound of birds replaced the storm's echo. For the first time in weeks, Maya woke up without fear. She sat up slowly, her body sore, but her heart strangely light. The little guest room smelled faintly of coffee and soap. There was a folded blanket on the chair and a small handwritten note on the nightstand. Good morning. There's breakfast on the table. Ethan. She smiled faintly, a gesture her face had almost forgotten how to make. In the kitchen, Ethan stood with his daughter Lily, a bright-eyed 6-year-old with curly hair and endless curiosity. Lily was stirring pancake batter messily, humming to herself. Daddy, Is she the lady from last night? Yeah, Ethan said softly. Her name's Maya. She's going to stay for a little while. Lily looked thoughtful. Is she sad? A little, but we're going to help her smile again, okay? When Maya stepped into the kitchen, Lily's eyes lit up. Hi. Daddy says you're having a baby. Maya blinked, surprised, then giggled, a sound so pure Ethan hadn't realized how much he'd miss laughter. Yes, I am. And you must be Lily. Yup. Do you like pancakes? I love pancakes. Lily grinned proudly. Then you'll like mine. Daddy burns his sometimes. Ethan rolled his eyes. Thanks for that, Lil. The morning passed in gentle warmth. Maya helped set the table, and for a few moments, she felt something she hadn't in a long time: normalcy. Over the next few days, the small house filled with quiet routines. Maya insisted on helping around the house, cleaning, folding laundry, cooking meals. Ethan worked long hours at the garage, and Lily often sat beside Maya, reading picture books to her unborn baby. If it's a girl, can we name her Sparkle? Lily asked one day, her voice full of wonder. Maya laughed softly. Maybe. I'll think about it. Ethan would come home tired, but whenever he saw Maya and Lily together, a calm peace washed over him. At first, Maya hesitated to speak about her past. But one night, as they all sat around the dinner table, she finally opened up. He used to be kind, she began quietly, until I told him I was pregnant. Then everything changed. He said I trapped him. One night, Her voice broke. She placed a hand over her belly. I thought I'd never get away. Ethan's eyes filled with quiet anger, not at her, but at the man who'd hurt her. You don't have to talk about it, he said softly. What matters is you got out. You're safe now. Maya nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. Safe, she whispered again, as if it were still hard to believe. But safety, in a small town, came with whispers. By the end of the week, the neighbors began to talk. They saw Ethan, a single father, walking with a pregnant woman and assumed the worst. At the grocery store, two women murmured behind them. That's the mechanic, right? Heard he's living with some girl now. Pregnant too. Figures. Ethan noticed, but pretended not to care. Maya, however, lowered her eyes in shame. When they got back to the truck, she said quietly, I should leave. People will think badly of you. Ethan sighed deeply. Let them think what they want. You and that baby deserve a home, not gossip. Maya blinked, tears forming. Why are you so kind to me? Because someone has to be, he said simply. And because I know what it's like to be talked about. She tilted her head. When my wife passed away, people said I'd never manage on my own. That Lily would grow up broken. I proved them wrong. You'll too. Maya looked at him for a long moment, and for the first time, she believed him. Weeks turned into a month. Maya began to show more, her belly round and full of life. Ethan fixed the old crib from Lily's baby days, sanding and painting it fresh white. Lily helped, proudly handing him screws and brushes. It's for the baby, she said. Auntie Maya's baby. Maya smiled from the doorway, tears in her eyes. Ethan looked up, his hands covered in paint. What do you think? It's perfect, she whispered. That night, she couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, watching the moonlight spill over the small backyard. For once, her thoughts weren't filled with fear, but hope. Inside that humble home, surrounded by kindness, she realized something powerful. Healing doesn't always begin in hospitals or therapy rooms. Sometimes, it begins at a kitchen table, with pancakes, a 6-year-old's laughter, and the heart of a single dad who refused to walk away. It was late evening, and the house was quiet. Maya had just finished a warm bath, her hair wrapped in a towel, and was resting on the couch with Lily reading a picture book aloud. Ethan was in the garage, finishing repairs on a car for a neighbor, humming softly. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt safe. She laughed with Lily over a silly story about a cat wearing boots. Her belly rose and fell gently with each chuckle. Then, a loud, drunken voice pierced the calm. Maya, come out here. I said come out. Her heart skipped. She froze. Her hand went instinctively to her stomach. The familiar terror returned, thick and suffocating. Ethan heard it immediately. He dropped the wrench in his hand and strode to the front door. Outside, under the dim streetlight, stood her ex, stumbling slightly, red-faced and reeking of alcohol. He waved a bottle and shouted incoherently, "You can't hide from me. You're mine." Maya shrank back, trembling. Lily's eyes widened. "Daddy, what's happening?" Ethan knelt beside Lily, speaking calmly but firmly. "Stay inside. I'll handle this." He stepped forward, arms relaxed but ready. "You need to leave. Now." The man laughed, a sharp, cruel sound. "Or what? You're just a nobody. Who's going to stop me?" Ethan's jaw tightened. He did not move his hands aggressively, but his stance radiated quiet strength. "I said now. You will not touch her. Ever." The man lurched toward Maya. Panic surged through her. She backed up, but Ethan was already in front, shielding her. "Stay behind me," he said. The ex stumbled again, almost hitting a mailbox. The bottle slipped from his hand. Ethan reached out calmly, steadying him. "Look, this ends tonight. You're not going to hurt her. Call the police or leave, your choice." The man's anger flared, but the calm authority in Ethan's voice, the unwavering protection in his stance, shocked him. For the first time, someone refused to fear him. He cursed, spat on the wet ground, then finally turned and staggered away, muttering threats that dissolved into the night. Maya sank to the porch, shaking uncontrollably. He's gone," she whispered. Ethan crouched beside her. "Yes, he is. You and your baby are safe. No one will hurt you here." She looked up at him, eyes filled with tears of relief and gratitude. I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. Ethan shook his head gently. "You don't have to. Just focus on staying safe. Thanks enough." He walked her back inside, making sure Lily stayed calm. Once the front door clicked shut, Maya leaned against the wall, exhausted. I've never felt like this before," she admitted softly. "Felt like what?" Ethan asked. "Safe, cared for, loved, even a little." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes, it only takes one person who refuses to walk away to make the world a little brighter." That night, sleep came easier. Ethan checked the locks, made sure the spare room was warm, and even left a glass of water by Maya's bed. Lily fell asleep in the corner, hugging a stuffed bunny she insisted was the baby's guardian. Maya's dreams were vivid, not of fear, but of a peaceful life, with laughter and warmth. A tiny life growing inside her, safe and protected. The next morning, the town would whisper, but Maya didn't care. She felt a new courage rising in her chest. "No matter what comes, we will be okay," she whispered to her baby. And for the first time, she believed it. Outside, Ethan quietly loaded the car for work. His hand brushed against the small package of baby clothes he had bought secretly the day before. He looked at the house, where Maya and Lily laughed softly together. He smiled to himself, realizing something he hadn't thought about in a long time. Sometimes, being strong isn't about fighting the world. It's about protecting the ones you care for and refusing to let fear win. The storm had passed, both literally and figuratively. But challenges were still ahead. And yet, Maya no longer... Months passed since that rainy night. Maya's belly grew round and full, a constant reminder of new life and hope. Ethan and Lily continued their quiet routines, laughter echoing through the small house. The day finally arrived. Maya went into labor early in the morning. The sky was a soft gray, clouds heavy but gentle. Ethan helped her into the car, Lily clutching a stuffed bunny, insisting it protect the baby. The hospital was a blur of white walls and rushing nurses. Ethan stayed calm, holding Maya's hand through every contraction. "You're strong," he whispered. "I'm scared," she admitted, tears streaming. Ethan brushed the hair from her face. "It's okay to be scared. But you're not alone." Hours later, with Lily peeking through the doorway, a nurse placed a tiny, wailing baby boy into Maya's arms. He's perfect, she whispered, tears streaming. Ethan looked down at the newborn, his hand brushing gently across the soft hair. Lily squealed with delight. He's ours, she shouted. Maya laughed through her tears. No, ours is too much. But he's ours in the way we love him. They named him Hope, for the hope that Ethan had given Maya, the hope that this tiny life would grow in safety and love. Back at home, the house was transformed. The crib Ethan had fixed now held baby Hope. Lily had insisted on decorating it with stickers of stars and moons. Maya sat in the rocking chair, cradling Hope, and Ethan leaned against the doorway, watching them. He's amazing, Ethan whispered. Maya looked up at him, gratitude shining in her eyes. You saved us. All of us. He shook his head, smiling softly. I didn't save anyone. You saved yourself by keeping going. I just walked with you. Lily climbed onto Maya's lap, kissing Hope's tiny forehead. Now we're a real family, she declared. Maya laughed, a full, free laugh she hadn't known in months. The sound filled the little house, driving out the shadows of fear that had haunted her. Weeks turned into months. Maya recovered, and slowly, she began to help others. She volunteered at shelters, speaking to young women who had been hurt and abandoned. She shared her story, careful to leave out names, focusing on courage, hope, and the difference one person can make. At her first public speech, she stood before a crowd of women and families. She looked down at baby Hope in his stroller, Ethan standing beside her, Lily holding his hand. All it takes is one kind soul to change a life, she said, her voice steady, powerful. Mine was a single dad who stopped to care when no one else would. He reminded me that love and kindness are stronger than fear. The audience erupted into applause.
Some cried.
Some hugged the people next to them. But all understood the truth of her words. One act of kindness can ripple through lives, creating hope where there was none. That evening, as the family sat together in their small home, Hope slept peacefully in his crib. Lily sang softly a lullaby she had invented, and Maya rested her head against Ethan's shoulder. Thank you, Maya whispered. No need, Ethan said. Just love him, teach him to be kind. That's enough. Maya smiled, thinking about how far she had come, from running terrified in the rain to rocking her baby, surrounded by love, laughter, and safety. Outside, the world continued, with storms and whispers and struggles. But inside that small house, they had built something unshakable, a family bound not by blood alone, but by courage, compassion, and heart. You don't need to be rich, famous, or powerful to change a life. Sometimes being human, listening, helping, protecting, is enough to give someone hope, courage, and a future.